Hello and welcome to another video. We're going to be watching 2001 A Space Odyssey today. If you haven't already seen it, I watched A Clockwork Orange a while ago and most of the comments on that were to watch this film, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I have no idea, once again, what it's about. I assume it's about Space Odyssey. Is it sci-fi? It's probably sci-fi. But other than that, I have no idea, other than it's an old film and it's Stanley Kubrick. So let's just go. Before I press play, I would just like to say I have recently made a coffee account. It's a place where if you want to support me, you can. The link is down below. But with that being said, there will be more information at the end of the video. Long intro to be expected. Because the film is 2.5 hours long, I did just check. Is the first half an hour just this? Because it may well be. I have a feeling there's going to be something like weird about this. Something that's going to freak me out. I don't even know what genre it is, really. Is it a horror? I don't know. Legit, I was kidding, but what? Are we still going? Okay, no, we are playing. Okay, good. Because this is giving me horror movie vibes now. I had no reason to believe it was a horror movie, but now I'm like, what film? Holy shit, okay. No, patience, Tyler. I swear, if there's a jump scare, man. Oh, it's not started. I just feel like it's Stanley Kubrick. We're going to get like a really psychological, harrowing journey. It is interesting, isn't it, how like older films take a lot longer to build up and just start. It just kind of forces you to be patient and just chills you out a little bit, relaxes you, kind of draws you into the atmosphere. How did they do that? Was that... because it wasn't effects. Okay, they've got people in costumes. They're really good though, holy shit. I'm starting to realise how much I actually prefer prosthetics and physical costumes and makeup, especially when they're done well, to like CGI. I hate that so much nowadays, like how much CGI there is in stuff. And then you go back and watch a film and then all you can think about as you're watching it is like, this CGI is shit. And like, you can tell that like, this is good. Like this looks, they put a lot of time and effort to make this look as real as possible. You know, even insofar as like the actors having got the movement down and how they move and behave and stuff. It's good, it's aged really well. So interesting how it draws you in, because on paper everything that's happened so far isn't interesting, right? You read it and you're like, okay, so what we're supposed to find this interesting, but you kind of do. For me, I went in thinking, you know, we're going to go straight into the Space Odyssey. You know, we're going to get a crew, we're going to get a ship, we're going to go into space. And then the film's like, nope, we're going to do this instead. And then you're like, oh, okay, so then it makes you curious. It makes you curious about what's going to happen, where it's going to go. Obviously, I feel like that's where it's going to go. It's like, how is it going from this, or what's the film doing by showing me this first? So it kind of hooks you in. It hooks you in really well. Okay, here we go. Airliner. And it's sleek. This seems more like fresher than stuff I see nowadays, sci-fi wise. Maybe not her outfit, but hey.
Hi. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
We haven't seen you out here for a long time.
It's still it's fresh and it's different.
Been about 7 or 8 months since you were here last.
Does it really well? It's got its own kind of tone, shade, its own colour to it, its own design. Considering it was the 1980s, yeah. There's not been anything that stood out to me that's made me go like, ooh,
hello.
Yikes.
Elena, how nice to see you again.
Hey, Wood, what a wonderful surprise to meet you here.
You're looking wonderful. If you don't mind, I'll just sit with you a few minutes and then I must be off.
Are you quite sure?
Quite sure, thank you.
Well, it's just that for the past 2 weeks, some extremely odd things have been happening at Clear's.
Oh dear.
Frankly, we have had some very reliable intelligence reports that quite a serious epidemic has broken out at Clear's.
Fuck. Parallels. I do just want to talk about that for a little bit actually, because that was really interesting. Not like what they were talking about or anything, like it was, but just the kind of the composition of like the conversation itself and the camera work and stuff. Because like, right, okay, you watch a film nowadays, okay, and there's so many cuts and stuff, and there's probably loads of cuts in this video, so shut the fuck up. That's not what I'm talking about. There's something about this scene that's like lulling me into like a sense of relaxation and like almost like I'm part of the conversation, because it's like for long stretches it's the exact same camera shot. It's the same shot, you know, of the same, and you can see everyone. So you can kind of watch them talking and watch and see how people are reacting. And it's not like someone spewing exposition as they're doing like a walk and talk type thing. You are getting exposition, but it's within the confines of a conversation that seems very natural. This is the way you do it, the way that they just did it then. And I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored as they were delivering that to me, because they haven't given me much so far in the film anyway. So I'm still like kind of like, what's going on? What's going to be the conflict? Where's the issue? What's going to be the thing? And I think as well, because again, it contrasts to modern stuff, it seems fresh to me in a way that intrigues me and interests me. I think that, yeah. And it is all very slow paced, but it is paced very nicely in a way that you are enjoying the journey. Okay, that's pretty cool. I have no idea how they did that, but I'm okay with it. Lots of Velcro, mate. This is definitely like a Kubrick thing, isn't it? Long spaces of kind of wide shots of environments and stuff with music played over it for fucking ages, mate. And I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it, but like it does go on for a little bit, you know. It kind of lulls you. It lulls you a little bit, so you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is nice, isn't it? I just hit the point then when I was like, okay, can we just carry on now though?
Congratulations on your discovery, which may well prove to be among the most significant in the history of science. Now,
teasing that, isn't it? He was like, I can't tell you. Now he's like mentioned it, and he's like not actually said what it is. What have they uncovered?
Now, I'm sure you're all aware of the extremely grave potential for cultural shock and social disorientation contained in this present situation.
Aliens, gotta be aliens. But yeah, it's interesting actually. Bless them for thinking in 2001 we would have this kind of an institution, galactic government type thing, council. The fact that they've got shuttles essentially going from Earth to station to the moon, etc., etc. It seems like part of life and part of. It's really interesting because like when you go back to the space race, like the whole point of it being a space race was because like countries were competing against each other to put the first man on the moon, and the reason that we probably did that was because there was this competition to be the one to do it first. Since then, that kind of race, that kind of drive kind of leveled off and kind of stopped completely for a long while. And it's interesting, isn't it, how if that drive and motivation had continued, how far we could have come towards this, how much closer we could have come to this. You know, if we'd, for example, if we'd pulled all our resources together and tried to achieve this, because we probably lost a lot of years towards getting towards this by getting in our way, whether it's by nations competing against each other, whether it's monetary reasons, blah 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 blah. But it's just interesting. It's interesting to see this and what they thought would happen if that continued, and how it didn't continue, and now we've got what we've got, which is still amazing, but it's not this.
We thought it might be the upper part of some buried structure, so we excavated out on all sides, but unfortunately we didn't find anything else.
Okay, so aliens, but not an alien then.
No, the only thing we're sure of is it was buried 4 million years ago.
Okay, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the whole film so far has just been like building on the intrigue and the curiosity of those watching, and it's not giving too much away. It's like drip feeding the information to us, but in a way that's nice. It's you know, it's slow and gradual. There's not large periods where you're like, why are you telling me this? Just tell me the thing. They're giving me enough to kind of sate that curiosity, and I'm interested because I'm like, what we're gonna find out? Because like I just watched The Thing, and now my mindset has gone towards something like that happening, which is not great. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, this is like 2.5 hours long, right? Nowadays, if this film was made nowadays in the style that films are made nowadays, this would be like hour 40, maybe an hour 40. Because there's so many little bits where it's like nothing's really happening. The film's just slowly unraveling, which isn't a bad thing. But it's just interesting to see the style of something a little bit older. You know, because like now, like I naturally see a film's runtime as like 2.5 hours, and I'm like, whoa, meaty, mate. You know, that's a big boy, that's a beefy chonker. But it's not really. It's not. It's just a normal film. It's just drawn out a lot. Oh God, it's the right. Okay, so it's the little monolith that we saw at the beginning, at the dawn of man. Oh god, imagine this sound, this music coming at you in a cinema from all around. Ooh, no thank you. Yeah, fuck it mate, touch it, squeeze it, have a little fondle. Okay, like this music's been playing so long now that I am legit starting to get creeped out, you know, like there's only so much you can take before you're like, okay, let's just fucking calm it down now, lads, yeah? Oh, they've come for a photo. Okay, photo. Oh god. Turn that shit down. Ah. Oh, again, giving us like little bits of information. It's like drip feeding, but in a way that does satiate you until the next bit. Like the structure's really well thought out, really well done. Because now I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that about? 18 months later, what's gonna have happened? You know. The only thing I would say is that actually, that little sequence there, because now I'm impatient. I'm like, what? Okay. And maybe this is a reflection on me. I'm an hour in, right? I'm an hour in. So, you know, and then something happens like what just happened with the monolith, and I'm like, okay, right, tell me what happens next. Get to the next thing. Don't like stop teasing it out of me. Which I didn't feel, but then it did that whole long thing again where there was a bit of music and there was a lot of this shot of this guy just running around and nothing else really happening. And that was pushing my patience a little bit. But you know, maybe I'm just conditioned to films nowadays that don't do that and just get to the point quicker. I'm spoiled. That's what I'm saying.
We next spoke with the HAL 9000 computer, whom we learned one addresses as Hal.
See, they're spending a lot of time on Hal. Is Hal going to be this lovely kind of thing that we find out does have feelings at the end? Or is Hal going to go Skynet on us? I'm not sure.
I can spend.
That neck angle is not comfortable, is it?
Bishop takes knight's pawn.
I like Hal. I do like Hal. I really hope he turns out not to be a fucking dickhead, you know? I don't think he's going to be. Is that the optimism in me? Maybe.
I'm sorry, Frank. I think you missed it. Knight takes bishop. Mate.
Oh, he said sorry before he beat him. Ah, are you trying to lull me into a false sense of security? And then Hal's going to fucking turn on him? Hal seems like a sweetheart. This is all going way too well. Way too well. So what happened, by the way, on the moon? Did they all die? Because it hasn't told us that yet, has it? And I feel like it's 18 months later, they must know what happened. It's not really answering many questions so far, it's just creating new ones.
That's a very nice rendering, Dave. I think you've improved a great...
Hal is the friend we all need.
And you hold there are some extremely odd things about this mission.
Right.
Strange stories floating around before we left.
Of the moon.
Rumors about something being dug up on the moon.
So they don't know what
particularly...
happened. See, it's making me care about these characters. Like, there was, like, Hal is a fucking sweetheart, mate. You can't tell me anything about him that I would not defend him for. Is it Frank? Had that call with his family, you know, and they're doing normal stuff, playing chess and stuff. It's very much kind of trying to build up reasons for me to care about these people, which makes me immediately suspicious. Brace yourself, Tyler, brace yourself. So it's doing that thing again where it's very slow. I'm at a point in the film where I'm eager to find out what's going on. So it's almost like a double-edged positive negative, because they've done a good job getting me to this point where I care about it, but I care about it to the point that I'm like, fucking tell me, mate, stop fucking me about. And I know it's a sign of the time, and yeah, I guess I'm spoiled like modern films nowadays, and it's all so much quicker. But for me, my own personal taste, you know, I'm just used to that. So this is very much like, come on. I think as well, because there's this kind of impending doom that I sense, like, right behind me. Like, figuratively. Because I really do feel as if something bad is going to... Like, nothing really bad has kind of happened. Yeah, I mean, the moon thing was sketch, but if something bad happened on the moon, we didn't see it. So I'm just waiting. I'm tense. Especially because all I can hear right now is breathing. And it's just a little bit above, like, resting breath rate? Breath rate? That's not a thing. What am I thinking of? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a little bit faster than it should be. Which actually, like, now that I think about it, is a really effective way of making you feel on edge. Well done, film.
Well, hell, I'm damned if I can find anything wrong with it.
See, all of that, that was like, what, 10 minutes? So just to be like, it all looks fine.
Back in operation and let it fail. It should then be a simple matter to track down the cause.
Nice.
We can
How come it with
certainly afford to
solutions?
be out.
Like all of that, that moment there sums up this whole film. The whole film. That was like 10-15 minutes of like suspense built up, and then the film was like, yeah, it's fine. Well, it's not fine, but don't know, mate.
That your onboard 90000 computer is in error predicting the fault.
So they're saying how?
It can only be attributable to human error. This sort of thing has cropped up before.
He essentially was just like, you guys are dumb.
Are you certain there's never been any case of even the most insignificant computer error?
First time for everything.
None whatsoever, Frank.
Unless Hal is turning against them somehow. You better not. Don't do that to me.
Appearance on D channel.
We'll have a look at it.
This is just me. Other spacesuits look like Power Rangers, because that is amazing. It's getting too far in the film now to make me think that it's gonna bring aliens into the mix. So it's like, what is the enemy? What is the antagonist? So I'm like, Hal?
I've got a bad feeling about him, don't you?
Stop looking at him.
It would certainly indicate his integrity and self-confidence.
Stop looking at him. So obvious. Are we going to assume that it can't lip read?
If he were proven to be malfunctioning, I wouldn't see how we'd have any choice but disconnection.
Oh shit. You know that he's definitely listened in on this conversation as well. Like, they were so...
I agree with you.
They were so obvious.
We'd have to cut his higher brain functions.
Yeah, this is what I mean. They're going like to... They're going from one extreme to... Lip reading! I fucking told you. I told you, mate. I told you. God damn. You fucking idiots. Like, they've gone from like 0 to 100 real fucking quick, mate. Intermission? What do you mean? It's not a play. It's not a pantomime. How long's this going to be, eh? 20 minutes? 20 minutes. No, legit, right? Like, they went straight to like, it's disconnecting, which is essentially killing Hal. So he made a mistake, it's fine. It's fine, it's one mistake. Oh dear, because I feel like that's the conflict now. It's going to be the AI against the humans. Wow, I was not kidding about an intermission. See, I feel like this film is all about build-up, innit? It's all about build-up. It's about teasing the audience. I feel like it's kind of like the Blair Witch Project in a way. Spoilers for that. It's been out a while, alright? Just deal with it. Where they tease and tease and tease and tease and tease. And that's what's scary about it. And that's what, you know, and that's the device that they use. And then nothing really happens. I'm not saying nothing's going to happen, but I'm just saying, like, the whole of the film is just drawing people in and being like, look at all this weird shit happening. And all the long pauses and the time spent and it kind of... and the patience between scenes, all designed to ramp up that tension. Is it going to be like a wild last 20 minutes? Maybe. Who knows? Oh, God. What? Oh, shit. I mean, they did say they were going to kill him, so it's kind of self-defense, isn't it? Is it, or is it like a massive red herring in Hal's sound? Because arguably, now that he's got this guy in here, he's just gonna yeet him into space. End of film. Because Hal's won. See, there's 3 more guys in there. So, see, Hal's in control of that though. So surely Hal can just. Oh fuck. So Hal is just going AWOL, right? That's what's happening here. Oh, it's gonna be the humans fucked up, didn't they? Hal was right, and then they had that conversation. Hal was like, fuck, they're gonna kill me. I gotta kill them. Soz. But it does seem a bit overboard when Hal killed the guys in the pods, because the pod guys didn't make that decision to possibly disconnect Hal. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a step over the line for me.
Hal!
It's almost weird that we're getting this little plot line, because the central plot point was the monoliths, the pillars that they were finding, and it was like, that was the question. The question was like, what's going on with that? And then it's introduced to this. It's like, are they connected, or is it just not connected? And this is just kind of seeing us through until we find out what was up with the pillars. It just seems a little bit disjointed, not in a bad way, but it's like, you know, decide what story you're telling. No, that's not true. That's not true, because it's still compelling. But I'm like, now I'm like, how are they going to wrap up the monolith thing adequately, as well as this? I like the little added touch that when it shows out in space, there's no sound, but it is moving very slow now. The film, yeah, it's kind of got to a point where it's earned the accolade of going a bit quicker now. You know, you've done well. You've built it up. You've built up the suspense. Now let's just crack on, yeah. but it's not. And it's kind of got to a point now in the film where it's like it's quite painstaking, and I'm finding it more frustrating and less like I'm relaxing into it and enjoying it.
Just what do you think you're doing, Dave?
I feel like Hal's past the point of no return now, though. Like, you kind of got to, like, you've gone a bit too far, mate. I could have accepted the actions until they killed the guys in the pods. And I feel like this guy's going to be pissed because he had to let his mate go, right? I'd be pissed. I'd be like, fuck you, Hal.
I can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly. Take a stress pill and think things over.
He just told Dave to take a chill pill. Holy shit. Never tell someone. First of all, I thought it was going to be like, just calm down. Never works, first of all. But he went one step further. You don't...
I've still got the greatest enthusiasm and confidence in the mission.
Hal, stop talking, mate. I don't feel that much sympathy for Hal at this point, actually. I felt it at the beginning, and I get that Hal was scared, but it was over the fucking line by turning off the life support of the three guys that had done fuck all. I feel like they're building this to be like a massive emotional centre to the film as well. But we've only had this dynamic between Hal and the guys, and the dynamic between them all. It's been like maybe the final third of the film. I feel like there's not necessarily been enough for me, personally, to make me care as much as I think they're trying to go for in this moment. Like, don't get me wrong, you can go back and watch, like, I liked Hal. I was all for Hal. But like the subsequent events have kind of not made me feel this. I think the way that they've done it as well, I'm now like, let's get this over with so I can find out what was up with the monoliths and the mission and what happened with the guys on the moon, and like all those questions they built up and put into the background to focus on this. Fair enough, fine, whatever. But they've done that, and now I'm like, now that I've decided that I don't care as much as they think I should at this point, I'm like, I'm over it. Fucking hurry up. I want to find out what the other stuff was.
This is a pre-recorded briefing.
Oh no, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
18 months ago, the first evidence of intelligent life off the Earth was discovered. A single, very powerful radio emission aimed at Jupiter. Its origin and purpose, still a total mystery.
Thanks. Oh, okay, we're at Jupiter now. I thought it was going to unearth something that made like everything make sense and like Hal was just doing the right thing. And again, it was like a countdown of like, here's the answer to all your questions. And then, and it's a mystery. That's one too many times for me. Fuck off, mate. Just tell me. Just tell me. Patience, Tyler. No, I shouldn't have to be this patient. All right? It's now ushered us into this final act, I guess. So fucking, it better be good though. It better be good. That's what I'm saying. Because they've teased it out for as long as possible, as much as they could. I was mad in that moment, but I'm not mad. I'm like, again, and it's doing it well. I'm excited and I'm eager to find out, and I'm in that space again now. But now, if they don't deliver on it, because they have to deliver on it. If they don't, I'm not gonna be happy about it. So let's see. Oh God, what? What is happening? What the fuck? This is some interstellar bullshit. Like the film Interstellar. You know, at the end, I don't know if you've seen the end to that film, but it's giving me those kind of vibes. And I know it came afterwards. God, we're gonna get this for another 10 minutes now, aren't we? You know, about 10 minutes ago when I said, oh, this is what we're gonna get now for the next 10 minutes. I was fucking right, mate. Like, this is come on, just tell me. I've been sitting here looking at this kaleidoscope. Question is, whatever payoff we're gonna get, is it gonna be worth all of this? That's the question, and that's gonna make or break the film for me. Because I have genuinely enjoyed it, it's just there's been points where it's taken a little bit too much time, I think. You know, like, what are we looking at now? It's all very colourful, but what am I supposed to be learning? What am I supposed to be getting from it, other than like, and it's fine if you want to do this for like 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, fine. Maybe it's like my concept of what a modern film is, and it is very much different to this, and how it is structure-wise. But at the same time, I can appreciate something that isn't what I consider the norm or modern. I can appreciate something that's different to that, but then I think this is taking it a little bit further in the sense of, yes, it's doing things structurally in a different way and telling the story differently and in a way that's not conventional, but at the same time I think it's taken that to an extreme that now isn't really working to entice me or draw me in. It's just serving to annoy me and keep the answers of the film from me, which is not an enjoyable feeling. Which is why I've got so much time to think and sit and think about it, because I'm like, I just want to fucking find out now, and I'm not enjoying what's on the screen particularly because I've not been told anything, and it's just the same thing that I've seen gradually progressing to a point that's fucking this guy up. It's giving me Clockwork Orange vibes. You know, the ladies' room with all the cocks in it? That one. You know, minus the cocks. Same room. What's happening though? Like, what is happening? I can't be the only one that ever watched this film and at this point it's like, what the fuck is going on? That looks like a dry meal, mate. Like a real dry meal. You need something on that. You know, a bit of sauce, bit of gravy. I swear, I thought in that moment you were just gonna look at the camera and then it would just cut to black. Oh, don't do it though. Don't look at the... Oh, I thought he was gonna do it. I thought he was legitimately gonna do it. Oh, for God's sake! What though? What? Like, okay, so he went to Jupiter. Did he fly into the monolith, or did he just come into contact with the monolith, or get near the monolith, and then this started to happen? Is this in his head, or was he transported? Oh, I don't know, man. Okay. What am I looking at? Right. Okay. Right. I'm gonna do a quick Google to find out what the fuck I just watched. Right. Hang on. Before I actually look at it, what do we think happened? Right. I think like aliens. Something to do with aliens. Aliens were a thing. I really don't like it when it's like a really abstract kind of ending that you can't like easily work out yourself. Is it going to be really obvious I'm just a fucking idiot? Or... Okay, no, so starting with one of the most enigmatic movie endings in history becomes a little clearer with input from the man who directed it. Okay, let's just talk about it first before I read that. So having watched the whole thing, I don't like it. And the reason is the fucking ending. So, which is so annoying because I was on track to actually really liking it. It was working for me. I think the film as a whole doesn't work for me, but like maybe 3 to 4/5 of it does. It does, but that's the problem, is that it does the suspense thing really well, and it builds up the tension and builds up, but that's the problem, it builds up the expectation as a result, and it does it really well, but again, it builds up the expectation that all of these mysteries and all these questions are going to be answered, and so you get that, not just an expectation of that, but you feel like it needs that because it's built it up so much that you need that to in your head be able to feel like you've had a full experience that you've enjoyed. It's so abstract. And is it essentially supposed to be like a visual representation? This is the closest I think I can work out, at least to my mind. It's like it's a visual representation of space travel and what we might find out there. And I guess with him aging at the end, it's like maybe like a symbolization. Oh man, I'm flexing my fucking English degree. Like a symbolization of how throughout the ages and as we age, these questions might not get answered, and kind of coming to terms and coming to grips with the idea that it might not be answered and we might not actually find out, or at least in our lifetime, maybe for several generations, several lifetimes going forward. Maybe it's just like a symbolization of that and more like a discussion of that, almost like a philosophical debate upon that subject and on the subject of space travel and aliens and our place in the universe and all that stuff. And it's like and the baby at the end is looking down at Earth, almost trying to say, like, you know, we are kind of babies in the universe and we don't know a thing. That kind of thing. Thinking about it, that's maybe what I can draw from that. And it was good. The pacing was good. The Hal thing in hindsight was a nice little plot point. So as I watched the film, it was a nice little plot point and I was enjoying it. But like in hindsight, I feel like, why was that in there? To me, it just kind of almost, I guess again, it comes back to that, maybe if I'm right in saying that it's like this philosophical debate, maybe again, it's introducing that debate of like AI and how we would develop alongside AI going into the future, and whether we would humanize them and whether we would see them as humans or as something completely different that would just be so easy to unplug. If that happened, should we be so quick to unplug a machine, because to a machine that would be death. As a film, as you're going through it and like going through the beats, and I was enjoying that, but again, looking back at it, I'm like, wow, it just seems like it's like a different film within a film. First half and the second half just seem like completely different films, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just don't think in hindsight they do fit as well together as they maybe should. And if I am right, and it is this whole debate, this philosophical thing of like space and space travel and just and aliens and discussing that whole thing and what we know and what we don't know and what we might never know, etc, 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 if I am right in saying that, to me that's not a good film though. If I want that kind of conversation, I will talk to a friend or someone or a stranger, who knows, I will talk to someone and have that discussion. I don't want to sit down and be entertained by an abstract representation or manifestation of that discussion. And that's why for me, I enjoyed it, and I did enjoy it, but like it got frustrating because, and that's the thing, and that kind of debate and discussion can never go anywhere because we don't have the answers. So that's probably the frustration that I felt, because it was trying to go somewhere and tease, but it never actually went anywhere because it couldn't. Okay, so let's read this. Let's see what the fucking thing is. By the way, this is an article by IndieWire. Okay, Dr. David Bowen's journey into the vortex has spawned countless fan theories and discussions about what happens to the character. Okay, this is a quote. "I tried to avoid doing this ever since the picture came out," Kubrick says. "When you just say the ideas, they sound foolish, whereas if they're dramatized, one feels it, but I'll try. The idea was supposed to be that he is taken in by godlike entities, creatures of pure energy and intelligence with no shape or form. Okay, they put him in what I suppose you could describe as a human zoo to study him. Okay. And his whole life passes from that point on in that room, and he has no sense of time. It just seems to happen as it does in the film." See, that's not an uninteresting idea. Oh, when they get finished with him, as happens in so many myths of all creatures in the world, he's transformed into some kind of super being and sent back to Earth, transformed and made into some sort of Superman. Okay, okay. See, again, okay, so that as an idea isn't uninteresting, but clearly it's not definitively clear. Because to me, that's how the ending was supposed to be. That's what was supposed to. That was the ending. That's the ending. That's what Kubrick said the ending was, right? So to me, if they'd have been more clear, if they'd have been clearer about that, and that would have been clearer to me as the audience that happened, that would have been to me more of a satisfying ending. However, because it wasn't as clear, because to me, again, if it's that philosophical debate that I was talking about before, then that's not a great ending. That's not a great film to me. But if you're working within the realms of the film and you're trying to give an ending that actually makes sense, and it's aliens and it's this zoo and he's been transported into the blah 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 blah, that's an ending. That's a definitive ending. But because he didn't make the ending clear, because he didn't make the ending clear, it doesn't quite hit that point that I think it should. Anyway, I've waffled on far too long. I think it's because it's the kind of film that I guess has polarized people and had people talking about it for years and years and years. It is what it is. Thank you for watching. A quick word before I go. There are a few links in the description below. I will be publishing a novella very, very soon. If it's not there, it will be soon. There is a blog that I have, a website called tyleralexanderthegreat.com. I'm so funny. Where there are currently 2 short stories that you can go read. So I write as well. I do short stories, novellas, novels, all that stuff. And I will be publishing a novella at the Amazon store for $2.99 soon. If you wanted to support the channel, that would be great. If you go have a look, see if it's your speed. If it's not, great, fine, whatever. I do also have a coffee account, so if you want to support that way, that would also be great. But if not, do what you want to do. Thank you for watching, and with that, I will see you next time.